How we have the wrecker hooked up. Light cord's plugged in, battery's taking a charge. We've got the first pick of the truck. This is the first pick. We're going to use a safety loop on it. But this is the first pick. We're going to actually pick the back of the truck up with the wrecker. You make sure you double check where you hook together, whether you're glad-handed the chains together, where you just hooked on the rail. Walk around and double check everything. Pick up the back of your truck to the desired height. What you want as a desired height, make sure you're legal. Take a tape measure and measure your stack from the ground. If you're close to 13.6, you can't be more than 13.6. Be legal. The back of the truck should be lifted up high enough so if you would blow a steer tire, well then you got to have the room for the truck not to hit the duals on the ground. Otherwise, you could perhaps have a problem with handling the wrecker behind you. After you get it up to the desired height, as you pick the truck up and you get it to the desired height, make sure you put your positive lock bar in and lower the jib under the positive lock bar. If you do not do this, you have a whole new dynamic that takes place that could damage your wrecker. Because instead of the jib taking the weight going down the road, this piece of support on the bottom that's used only for lifting is taking the load, and the jib is actually doing very little. You're pushing down on the hydraulic cylinder. If you don't drop down onto the positive lock bar, the cylinder is pushing down, prying on the front, and the weight that should be transferred onto your jib is now on your main beam on the bottom, which is not designed to carry the load down the road. We don't want you to damage this. Bring the jib down to the positive lock bar. Make sure she can't go any further. It'll smile at you. It won't go. The pump's made to bypass at 2,500 psi. When we come to bring the load down, it will stop and won't go any further. The pump will make a little ratcheting noise when you're in the bottom position. It's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. To complete the hookup, you need to take the remainder of your chain. That's why we use this 20-footer. To go underneath the back of the truck and off your jib. Now, you should have some slack on this. You never bring this chain up tight. If you do this, you're going to have a problem. This is wrong. You never do that. The reason being, when you go to turn, this jib will turn, this one won't, and then you could perhaps damage this frame stock. You could damage the taillight assembly. You could actually re-pick the back end of the truck, which is not kosher. You want to leave plenty of slack on your safety chain. You can take a separate chain and use it, or you can take the rest of this 3/8" chain that you're using. We use this as a safety chain, and it works great. You do both sides the same way. You want to bring your chain up underneath your cross member and lazily put it in place. This has got plenty of room to turn. This jib is designed to turn going down the road, and these chains will only come into play in case you foul hook the front or something. It's the secondary. When you get the rig into position, you want to remove the clamps that temporarily hold your angle iron in place. They could bounce off going down the road, go through somebody's windshield. Don't want that. Safety first. Take your clamps off. Put those in your cab. Everything's in place to motor that way. Okay. You need a few accessories to make sure you're all hooked up with this rig. You need a light bar and a light cord. We use 60-footers. This is the light bar's, I believe, 60 inches. Weighs 13 pounds. It's a poly light bar. You can get them from us or one of the dealers. Okay, with every Pro-Tote that you get from our store, comes with an air brake assembly. This is a safety feature. It's not the law that you have to put air brakes on the towed unit, but it's common sense that you put brakes on the towed unit, and we make sure that you're safe. Pulling this trailer, this truck behind you, is about 19,000 pounds. That's the equivalent of a semi-trailer with 2 Cadillacs on it. You wouldn't dream of having a flatbed on the back of your tractor with 2 Cadillacs on it and not having brakes on that trailer. That's just ridiculous. Same thing with the wreckers. So far, the states aren't requiring tow truck drivers to put brakes on there, but we insist that, and we provide you with the right equipment, put brakes on this towed unit. We'll show you how that's done. Your brake assembly comes with a 60-foot air brake line and a glad hand blocker and a crossover line go between your 2 front chambers on the tractor that you're pulling. There's a quick disconnect on the other end of this air line that will plumb into this quick disconnect that's on your, it's going to feed the front brakes of your tractor. You've got to run a light cord anyway. You have to have lights on the back of your truck. You might as well run the air brake assembly at the same time. It only takes an extra 10 minutes. You'll have brakes. You'll be safe. Somebody pulls out in front of you, you stop on a dime. We're going to put brakes on this towed unit. We're going to go right into the front cans, the front brake chambers on the tractor that you're pulling. You'll notice the air brake assembly has a longer hose, shorter hose. This is so you don't have to crawl underneath the truck. We're thinking for you, making sure you don't get dirty. We don't want you getting dirty. What we're going to do, we're going to disconnect the steer axle brakes, which consists of a couple of open-end wrenches, or you can use a crescent wrench or whatever. If the brake lines are new like this, no problem. So at any rate, we're going to disconnect this line. We're going to put our crossover line on it. The crossover line consists of the ends, typical ends for your brake assembly. We're going to use this line because it's already there, that adapter. I'm going to put this line here. Then we can either throw the hose across the top, or we can throw the hose underneath, depending on how you want to do it, to the other side, and hook onto the other brake canister, just like so. Our brake line goes back up to the tractor. We're going to come in and plumb it right in to the quick connect. And this will go back up to the tractor, feed these brakes. When you get up to the tractor up front, use this flat hand blocker, red blocker, to block the red line. This will keep your air from bleeding back and will allow you to put brakes on without losing any air pressure. You got a glad hand blocker. You're going to put the line coming off of the towed tractor onto your blue line. Real simple. The line is coming off of your semi-tractor that you're towing. This is the line that's from the tractor that you're towing. We just hooked to the brakes. This will go to your blue line. This will allow you to put brakes on your towed unit. You'll have a line coming up to your tractor you're using to tow with, coming off the line that feeds your front brake canisters on the tractor you're pulling. The red line will be blocked. So that when you go to drive the tractor that you're using for towing, you push in your red and yellow air knobs, the valves, so that you have air constantly to your brakes when you're going down the road. Should be all set.